There are things in the universe that are simply and purely evil. A warrior does not seek to understand them or to compromise with them. He seeks only to obliterate them. Today we're talking about the Thrawn novel on Jedi Alliance, so stay with us.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Jedi Alliance.
Hello everybody out there and welcome to another episode of Jedi Alliance right here on the Popcorn Talk Network, where we celebrate the greatest saga in film and beyond, especially today. I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica, joined by the full squad in effect today. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Young.
What's up, guys? It's wonderful to see your sunshiny faces. You can find me online at OneYoungsta, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
I took off my headset for some reason. Alexis Torres on the couch.
Hello, everybody. I'm still voice terrible. But you guys can find me all over the interwebs at atorres890. That's ATORRES890.
Hi, Alexis.
Hi.
Welcome back.
What up?
It's so nice to be back.
Well, I mean, you should not have left a comment while you were away last
I don't know what
weekend.
you're talking about.
You
That wasn't me. That was
silly
my
biscuit.
evil twin.
With the same exact...
Hold up, you have
No.
an evil twin?
Yeah.
Yo.
She's on the dark side. I'm on the light
She
side.
should
It's
guest
a
on the
really
show.
awkward time during Thanksgiving. That's all I'm going to say.
Debbie
Understood.
Sheriff, let's not do
Yeah,
that.
she runs around. She's like, I am your sister. And I'm like, shut up, Melanie. No one asked you.
It's a nice pull. You just pulled a name.
Yeah, I did.
It's
Good,
nice.
it worked.
Yeah, it was right out of my head.
So today is going to be less about news and the happenings in Star Wars, but there was a couple of small things that happened. We do know that there was
Little teeny things.
there was the Protector of the Wills book. We were getting a little bit more Baze and Chirrut is going to be coming our way.
Some dope art.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
gonna talk about that a little bit later. We're kind of waiting for news to accumulate a little bit more, so these next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit more fun, and more on that at the end of the episode for what's happening next week. Yeah, sorry, boss.
Yeah.
But Alexis, you saw a fun moment on Jimmy Kimmel. Hey, what up?
I
Welcome
did.
back. Sorry, I didn't
It's okay.
for adjusting your hair.
No, it's okay.
But it wasn't like huge news, but it was
No.
fun for
cool.
anybody who watched Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So if you guys were living under a rock at any point in time this past week, Adam Scott, who plays oh my god, I forgot his name on Parks and Rec.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a second.
Wait.
We're trying to rewatch it.
What was that, Neil?
Thank you, Ben
Ooh.
Wyatt. Neil knows that's his favorite.
He even
one of
has
his
a
favorite
last
shows.
name, too. It's not like...
Who plays Ben Wyatt on Parks and Rec, was on Jimmy Kimmel with Kristen Wiig, and they were just chatting about how he asked Mark Hamill to, when he was 2 years old, to come to his birthday party. This is obviously when the movie came out, and he was like, he's probably busy, but if you have time, please come on down to my birthday party, because I'm 2 years old and it's a big deal. And of course, Mark Hamill never responded, but...
Who knew?
But he did show up at the show with a green lightsaber, by the way, and was like, "Hey, I'm sorry I didn't make it. I had 2 bat mitzvahs and a supermarket opening that I had to be there that day, but I apologize." And just the immediate reaction of Adam Scott was just enough for my fangirl to just explode. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and
'cause-
I love the comment that you made where he was shaking.
He was shaking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. If it was me, they probably would have had to have the bleep guy on.
I love that he did Chris,
Holy
though.
shit.
Yeah.
It would have been like, boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
That's why there's a delay. They're not exactly
Yeah,
live. There's a
yeah.
little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring up being able to meet the actors behind your favorite characters, Alex. If there's any actor that you could meet from Star Wars, who would it be?
Well, definitely, it was Carrie Fisher for me. I did meet Mark Hamill, but it wasn't like, I didn't talk to him. He was at WonderCon in San Francisco in 2011. It was him and Carrie Fisher there. They were signing autographs and doing the thing. I have a very blurry video of him waving at me because I was shaking taking the video because he literally looked at me because I had a Joker shirt on.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hi, Mark Hamill," and he's like, "Hi," and all you see is this. But yeah,
Alexis, guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hamill. No, we don't.
Oh my god, can you imagine? I would lose my
Yeah.
mind.
man.
Except I would actually get up and start crying. I kind of did the same thing when Jim Cummings came to the studio, if you remember that.
Oh, I couldn't talk to him.
I
could
had
not.
to do it.
It was really rough,
I had to
especially
do it.
because he was here. He was here for a voice of interview, which you can go back and see. But he was also here for the Rebels After Show.
I know.
So it was especially hard not to go like, hey, you're everything, and I'm a big fan. Like I'm like since then I've gotten better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still hard for folks that are like.
Yeah, because I told Jim Cummings that Darkwing Duck was my savior as a kid because my parents argued all the time. So it was Wonder Woman and Darkwing Duck were the two people I could like escape to. So he gave me a big hug and a kiss, and I broke down. It was insane.
They're there for you, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And Jim Cummings still tweets me sometimes. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Oh, that's so
like,
cute.
"Oh."
That's
yeah. Yeah, no, see, that's exactly the face I made. It was in.
I don't know what kind of voices you're
No,
making.
that was correct.
Okay. Hey,
You understand.
he's still Winnie the Pooh.
Well,
Remember.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Ray.
yeah.
And half of Scar.
And everybody.
Most of
And
everything.
half of Scar's singing voice.
Yeah. Oh my God, he is.
It was one of my favorite stories. But yeah, that was kind of fun. And then just because it's dealing with two franchises that are very dangerous to sort of play on the internet without permission.
Yep.
A parody of a Beatles record came out this past week. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was rewritten as a retelling of New Hope. It was Princess Leia's Secret Death Star Plans. Yeah, that's what it was. Princess Leia's Secret Death Star Plans, featuring such hits as Luke is in the Desert and Whining, parody of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's masterfully done. It took years to do, and I'm sure you've seen it come across your social media, but just for risk of the Beatles people or the Star Wars people, we're not going to play it on the show.
Yeah.
But it's on my phone. It should be on your phone too. It's a free download.
I haven't got it yet, but I do need to get it because I saw it on Facebook and I was like, oh, I was at work and I was like,
okay.
I'll download that later, and then you just forget about it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'll download that.
I didn't do it
tonight.
right then for that exact reason. So yeah, it's a free download. All you got to do is search for it. You'll be able to find it. They can't sell it, but it's free. It's very enjoyable, and it's a completely different way to take in the Star Wars, A New Hope, and the Star Wars universe. And absolutely.
And if we played it, literal stormtroopers would probably come in here and take all the cameras and everything.
Kathleen Kennedy would be dressed as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
or dude, what if it dressed as Asajj Ventress and just
God.
kill everybody?
Yeah, she'd come in here and like take everything out, all the cameras and everything, shut everything down.
It'd be like that old drug PSA where it's like, this is your brain, this is drugs, but with like lightsabers. So yeah, there was some news today,
Some fun stuff.
but we've been talking about it. We've been talking about bringing a book club back. This week we're talking about Thrawn.
Oh yeah.
The relatively brand new Timothy Zahn novel, which reintroduces Thrawn to the book canon, and well, first of all, really quickly, beautiful cover, beautiful art, but one of my favorite things is the coloring that they choose for the actual book itself, which is Thrawn blue, Admiral white, and the text is the red of his eyes.
And like the redness is like mad shiny. I don't know if you can see it.
I'm just trying to move it a
and
little
also
bit.
the blue is pure velvet. Well, okay, maybe it's not, but still,
It reminds you of
it
pure
looks
velvet.
smooth.
It's as velvety as the voice of the guy on the audiobook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this novel, a hefty 427 pages, small text, a couple days to get through if you
no
just
big
do that.
deal.
16-hour audiobook.
Yes.
So Michael, you listened to the audiobook.
Yes, I did.
We'll and as an advisory thing, Alexis, you read nothing.
I am not.
No.
I'm about to be spoiled the crap out of because I was on vacation last week.
Which we talked about it before. Absolutely not.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But you have some much more important things than sitting down with a book or
Yes.
listening to. So
3 months.
yeah. So here's what's up. If those of you who are here that have read the book and have any questions or any specifics that you want us to talk about, now's the time. Throw them into chat.
Yes.
Alexis is going to collect them, and we're gonna discuss them throughout the show. But we're gonna get spoilery.
Very spoilery.
But considering some of the characters in this book have appeared in other media alive, not spoiling too much.
Yeah.
So anything that you want us to talk about, if you haven't read the book but are interested in reading the book and don't care about spoilers and just want to know some certain specifics that might get you interested, leave them in the chat. Yo, Alexis.
So book canon, not canon?
No, it's canon.
Oh, it's definitely canon.
But just the fact that Thrawn started as a book character,
Right.
and was reintroduced on TV,
Right.
now he being back in books by his author,
Right.
his creator.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I was implying on that. Not the fact that this is canon. This is 100% canon.
Yeah.
All books now are canon.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. And sure. So
Someone's like, leave the room. I was like, I can't.
And also, the Heir to the Empire series is still worth a read.
No,
guys.
still super
It's
good.
still definitely
And-
worth. And in my mind, it's like canon as like a false memory or a dream that Thrawn had. It's still
no.
It's still canon in my mind.
One of my favorite bits is they made legends of the Chiss a part of the book. And it's like I've heard legends about what the Chiss are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And there's a bit that I while I was reading it I pulled where Thrawn is meeting Eli Vanto's parents at graduation day. And his dad asks which legends of the Chiss are true. Eli's like, yo, hold on, no. And he's like, the most flattering ones, of course, still, even when false, legends can be most informative.
Yeah. And we knew they were talking to us. We knew.
Anytime they say the word legends, it's like, hey, yo.
It's like, hey.
No, like
we know.
Like, especially on the TV show, if it's like there's truth in most legends, there should be like a lower third that says Heir of the Empire now available in all Star Wars books or something like that. But then, especially so, because later in the conversation it said, I thought you said they weren't true, Eli's mother said. I did not refer to the legends themselves, Thrawn said, but what is remembered says a great deal about those doing the remembering. Which is another one about like, hey fans, don't you worry. If you spent your life memorizing all of these novels and the versions of the characters that you know, we thank you. Yeah. Now get ready for the new hotness.
Yeah.
New hotness.
That's right, new hotness.
I love that.
What are some of your just quick reactions of the book as a whole?
I really enjoyed the book. Like, I was hoping that it was not, because Thrawn's my favorite character in Star Wars. So I was worried for a second, like, man, please don't be Aftermath for me. Like, please. And I know a lot of you guys probably love Aftermath, but I tried twice and couldn't get through it. But I was just like, please be good. And I really enjoyed it.
Not to get too far off into the weeds, but you tried twice. Were they both the audio version?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have the books, like the physical books.
Yeah, it's just, well, and I'll come back off of this, guys, but you know how there's like multiple stories that they tell?
Yeah.
I only care about one story.
Okay. All right. Then let's get back into Thrawn. But we're also going to be, I'm sure we're going to be talking about the differences between reading and audiobook.
Yeah.
But you really enjoyed the story. Was there anything that really stood out to you?
What stood out to me is how his thought process was, and also how they characterize Pryce. Because I like her less now. Like, it's like, I was like, man, you changed.
And for people who haven't read, that is the Pryce you're thinking of. Governor Pryce of Lothal, Orinda Pryce.
Yeah, because when they were saying Orinda, I was like, it wasn't clicking for me. And then when I was like, but she's one of those people that like go to a big city and come back and you can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't tell them nothing no more because like she's hot now. And it's just like, man, you changed.
Yeah. Her arc was really rough. I wish that the last couple of chapters with her and her parents hadn't been so rushed. Yeah. Because it looked like they were setting up, especially with her trying to get them out of the city, and she was like, just pack a bag. She's like, just give it. We just want the data cards of you and all of this and your childhood before you left. Yeah, and it's like, well, no, you get something else. It's like that's our life. Like you. Yeah. Because that instantly tells you how, like you said, how much she has changed. Yeah. But if we had gotten more from her parents,
because I think she really broke her mom's heart.
Both of her parents.
Well, her mom mostly because the second time that she commits a certain act, I was just like, wow, like your mom is kind of like crumbling in front of you, and you're just like, psh, whatever.
There's a mixed review of Pryce in the chat right now.
Yeah?
Some people are really happy that they saw Pryce. Some people are like, I forgot about that. Now we're saying puns in here now, where the Pryce is right. Gone girl. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, like I said, mixed feelings. Justin Toner says, I was so happy we found out she was responsible for the civilian casualties at Batoon, not Thrawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was she changed quick, and
Yeah, Slim
at first
41 said she was hella dark.
yeah, it's like I mean, I guess I would have liked her more if I was like, oh, she was always mean. But then when we meet her, we're like, oh, okay, she's just a regular lady, just living her
dreams.
life. Yeah, she got dreams, and she's always got that.
Town girl.
Just a small town girl.
I can't. I had to do it.
And she has dreams, and she wants to go to a big city.
Love you, Mark.
She goes to the city.
Because now I want to write the parody.
Right? It's gonna be so good.
Oh man, perfect. She goes to the city, and then like you see her slowly sort of changing, but then she makes this huge turn, with Tarkin. And I'm just like, whoa.
Once she knows that she has to talk to Tarkin, that's where she totally starts to change.
Yeah.
And there's a point of no return when her quote her friends ish.
Yeah, that was messed up, man. Yo,
I don't know who to
like,
believe.
what?
I didn't know who to believe, which was weird. But yeah, all of the stuff with Pryce was really interesting. And the one thing that I think the book did was it showed why she is so. She's overly confident with her relationship with Thrawn when they show up in when she shows up in Rebels, and it's like, hold on, I got somebody for this. It's like, how would you, reading throughout the book and knowing that Thrawn had this plan the entire time?
Yeah, that's
like long term.
That whole conversation.
At the very end?
Yeah,
okay.
The conversation with
Night Swan?
Night Swan, yeah. I don't know why I wanted to say Nightingale, but anyway.
I thought the same thing, and I was like, nah.
I was like, it's not Nightingale. But yeah, Night Swan, that whole conversation really, it was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Talk about playing the long game.
But despite like his long-term plans, with Pryce, it sort of happened near the end of her, at the end of her run in the book anyway. Mm-hmm. And my favorite moment with her, and one where I, as I was reading, she had, actually, let me see if I can find it, because I know it was at the end of a chapter.
While you're looking for that, Justin Toner says the scene where she sells out her friend to ISB because they're working with the rebels and how cold she is. Well done.
Yeah, that was a dope scene. It was just like, man, she's foul.
Yeah, Slim. It's just all over the place. Yeah, Slim 41 Third said Night Swan was the coolest villain. Yeah. And Justin is with you, Michael. That scene was one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that I actually want to go back because you sent me the audiobook. I want to hear that now. Like I was just on a fever pitch trying to finish the book before today's show, but now I want to go back and listen to the dialogue of that. Because somebody mentioned early in the chat, Mark Thompson, the narrator for Thrawn, his version of Thrawn is very close to what it is in Rebels, and is easy to get lost in. My problem is I was a little bit more than halfway through the book, and I was doing some work, and I was like, well, I can't read and do work on this computer at the same time. Turned on the audiobook for a chapter. And my biggest issue was, of course, switching from one thing to another was a little bit rough. Mm-hmm. The voices in my head didn't match the voices that he was doing, which is totally fine. That's not his fault. But some of his choices that he made were fantastic, and I recommend it regardless.
Okay.
Yeah, like Slim says right here in the chat, listening to the audiobook afterwards, didn't realize Eli was country. It's like, that's the thing, is while they did...
Because when they kept saying, like, kind of like backwoods, kind of... See, I had that from the beginning, but you guys, I can understand you guys didn't...
that heavy. Like, that's the thing, is like, especially how Pryce worked to get rid of it. and got rid of her accent super quick because she was on Lothal.
Yeah, she's the girl from like, and no diss to you, she's the girl from like South Carolina, VA, North Carolina, Georgia, stuff like that moved to New York and switch up real quick. You be like, when they come back home, be like, hold up. You know you from Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why are you talking
saying
like
you're
that?
Southern? I don't believe you. So I figured after years of working with Thrawn, that Eli would start to lose it a little bit now and again. But that's not the important part. I found the moment where I just went, oh damn. She turned back to her computer and paused. Through the west-facing window, the sun was beginning to set.
Yeah.
For a moment, she watched, thinking back to the evening when her mother was arrested and their lives had changed forever. At the time, she'd thought how people in big cities probably never saw the horizon or the sunset, and had wondered if they ever even thought about such things, or whether they'd even cared. Arenda had lived on Coruscant in the galaxy's ultimate big city, and as she gazed out the window, she realized that she really didn't care. Keying the blinds closed, she turned her back on the distant horizon and got back to work. This girl,
I was like, yo,
this lady.
I'm like, you done changed. You ain't even down with us no more.
Right now?
I'm like, yo, look, man. I was like,
sitting
yo,
at this lunch table like you want to talk
supposed to be
Star
here.
Wars with us. Get out.
I was like, because at first I was like, yo,
You can't
Pryce.
sit with us.
Yeah, at first I was like, this Arenda girl, she's kind of cool. I don't know what she has to do with anything. And then I was like, oh, yeah, she's supposed to be Pryce. But she's so nice.
Nope, that was
supposed to be Pryce. She
I
was
like,
so nice.
I
Not
was
so
like,
nice.
did you just rhyme there? Look at you.
Nice
busting rhymes.
nice with a Y.
Stop it. Are you Busta Rhymes? You lied to me.
All day.
Because here at Jedi Alliance, we're always prepared to give you some all.
Oh!
I know my Busta Rhymes.
Bang, bang.
Thank you
my
very
God.
much.
Mark, you're my favorite.
Cars in a big crib, give me some more. Everybody
can.
spread love. Give me some
Give me
more.
some more.
So yeah, Pryce, absolutely phenomenal arc for Pryce.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about our boy, Grand Admiral Thrawn. By the end of the book, Grand Admiral Thrawn, who has the quickest ascension from being a civilian to a Grand Admiral in Empire's history.
Yeah.
Personal toy of the Emperor.
Yes.
So the Emperor thinks.
Yeah.
And he has an ensign with him, Eli Vanto,
Who grows on me?
I liked Eli. Eli was our Luke Skywalker. He was our everyman that provided us the window into Thrawn's brain. Mm-hmm. And the more he understood Thrawn, we understood Thrawn more. And throughout the book, we knew that Thrawn was building him to be maybe not necessarily an equal, but definitely somebody who can at least understand
why and how and stuff like that.
Exactly. And he ends up serving his purpose to a T.
Yeah. We
feel bad for him. He had all these hopes and dreams that were taken away by this blue guy. So he thinks again. Yeah. But man,
we find out there's a lot of this book deals with a lot of stuff on it like slides things in it because it deals a lot with not only military politics but the normal governmental politics and how racism affects both of those.
Yes.
Like it really I was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Y'all are sliding how racism, because at first, you're just like, oh, the Empire is usually all humans, and you don't really take into consideration, and then you're like, oh yeah, they use aliens as the scapegoats for all of their quote problems, and that's why they don't like kind of really allow, because a lot of the other species worlds were separatists at the time. So
and that's a good thing you bring up is it's still. The Clone Wars ultimately the Clone Wars are still relatively recent to when A New Hope starts and when Rebels starts. But we're still dealing with the Empire still relatively new. Yeah. And we're still feeling the effects of the Clone Wars, and separatists are still kind of a thing. Yeah,
because they even brought up the term seceding from the Empire.
Yeah, I forget the name of the planet, but there was a planet that
Kessel.
Was it Kessel?
Was it Governor Kessel or something like that?
But it was Governor Kessel. It was
Yeah.
Quesyl.
Okay.
But I forget the. I'll look while you vamp.
Yeah. So he wants to like secede from the empire, and then you start to see kind of these seeds. Sort of. At first, they're calling them insurgents, but of course, they will become the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just interesting to see that even with how the empire has started. And the Clone Wars aren't too far in our, rearview mirror, and people are still like, yeah, this new Empire thing, it's not working for me.
Still feeling it out. Yeah.
Still not liking it.
The planet is Bodajef.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And they were referring to the people on the planet as Jeffies, which made me made me feel a little weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Because like anytime you I don't like slurs.
Yeah,
it seems like a cultural slur.
Yeah, it seemed kind of like a slur, and it seemed anyone who's not human seemed to be kind of. I don't know if the term demonized is good, but they definitely were looked down upon.
Yes, negatively thought of differently.
Yes. And it was just funny to see Thrawn navigate, especially when we find out later on with Night Swan, but just seeing him navigate the racism and knowing like, well, it's, man, because he just knows he'll have to be excellent at whatever he does to climb up the ranks.
But even despite that, I think it's less of knowing that he has to be on his guard, because throughout the book, people are saying, you don't have a brain for politics. You don't you don't understand how all of these different hierarchies work. You're just going because you're good.
Yeah.
And you know that you're good enough to like he's the best.
Yeah.
And he knows he's the best, but it doesn't go unchecked. People whatever. He's probably getting lucky. Even one of the characters mentioned that he probably just has friends in high places.
Yeah.
And then, that's how he's getting all of his promotions.
And then the conversation with Eli about the people getting fired, that he kind of like outshines and stuff like that. He's like, you have to understand that, you affect people, on different levels. Like, even though you're doing great, if you outshine, this commander or this lieutenant or such and such, they're getting reprimanded in your wake, and you don't even realize that. And I was surprised that he didn't realize that, being, I guess, as smart as he was. But I guess, he just had a one-track mind, like win, 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 win. And that was
he knew how to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because anytime Eli would, quote, reprimand him, just like, do you even know what you're doing? He would be like, but I saved the day. There were no casualties. There was this. Nobody was hurt, and I did all of these great things. How is that not the most important thing? Which totally makes sense.
Yes, until you throw in bias, prejudice, and racism. They already hate you. They already don't want you here, and you're good. So now they have to blame someone who is Eli, who they kind of like crap on the whole book just about. And so he kind of has to make a deal to get him a promotion, which is a shame.
Well, that's even the thing is he's been working on it. Yeah. We don't know how hard he's been, quote, working on it, because he keeps saying, hey, I keep putting in the request for this. I keep putting in the like. Part of that may have been part of his plan.
Yeah, to groom him for what he's grooming him for, which we'll talk about later.
And because speaking of High Ascension, despite Eli spending the longest time as an ensign in Imperial history, 3 years as an ensign is ridiculous.
That's a long time.
Immediately gets jumped up to lieutenant commander.
Yeah. Which
is like jumps captain and just goes straight to lieutenant commander. Nuts. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous.
But it was well deserved, because he had been around for 3 years. He had seen combat. He had been side by side solving problems. So it's kind of crazy, but he also deserved it.
Oh no, he totally deserved it. So that's part of the thing that I think helped get the reader so high up on Eli was understanding. He's not in the line of work that he wants to be in.
Nope.
All he wants to do is be commended for the job that he is doing.
Yeah.
and it's not happening. So by the time it finally does happen, regardless of him knowing how it happened in the background, you got to feel good that he finally won one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was happy because at first I was like, are they going to bump both of them up and then maybe he's going to leave and do his own thing? And then when it was all about him, I was like, that's nice. That's what's up.
And especially getting it directly from Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
And going, congratulations, the both of you. You both deserve it. It's like, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be working for the devil, but for the devil to go, man, you know what? You're all right.
It's like, thank you.
Speaking of Tarkin, I do love how when Pryce walked in immediately and said, hey, I have a deal for you. Like, instantly. And he essentially went, all right, you're bold.
Okay, what you got?
Cards on the table.
But,
Oh, no. I was just saying, whenever you're ready, I have a few questions from the chat. Just random questions that they wanted to ask you.
Okay,
That's why I was like, I wanted to just let you know before you guys get more into
Okay, then let's finish this thought. Have you read Tarkin?
I'm only halfway through it.
Okay, do you know if...
Sorry.
Do you know if Moff Gotti is in that book as well?
I haven't heard of him yet.
Okay. Because I'm interested in how that resolved itself, because of all of a sudden, right after Tarkin was told about Gotti and removing him from whatever, we never got a follow up on that. And I was thinking that it would have something to do with Night Swan, and maybe they introduced him as a way to go, oh, you're gonna think that it's Gotti the whole time, until we go, nope, Signe.
So I'll finish up Tarkin this week because I'm like 3 hours and some change in, and I know it's short. It's shorter than
this.
Shorter than
Ahsoka?
not Ahsoka, Thrawn. At least the time. At least the time is
okay.
But yeah.
All right. So that would be a little bit. That would be a little bit more so. Eli's arc is, and then we'll go to Thrawn after some questions. But I loved how Eli. I consider Eli maybe at Thrawn's level when he entered the Empire. He has since grown in his skill immensely.
Yeah.
But I think Eli is comparable to Thrawn in his tactics, just from working with them as bit as he did.
And also, maybe Thrawn's only friend. Like maybe Thrawn's only real friend.
Because we got the little bit. Every chapter opens up with a bit from a journal.
Yeah.
And let's.
Which doesn't sound exactly like a journal when you're listening.
No.
When you're listening, it's kind of like just his thoughts. But I was like, oh, this was a journal the whole time. I thought this was just him thinking about things.
And this isn't necessarily a spoiler, but it starts the epilogue. So there's that. It is said that one should keep one's allies within view and one's enemies within reach. A valid statement. One must be able to read an ally's strengths so as to determine how best to use him. One must similar be able to read an enemy's weaknesses so as to determine how best to defeat him. But what of friends? There is no accepted answer, perhaps because true friendship is so exceedingly rare, but I have formulated my own. A friend need not be kept either within sight or within reach. A friend must be allowed the freedom to find and follow his own path. If one is fortunate, those paths will join for a time. Join. But if the paths separate, it is comforting to know that a friend still graces the universe with his skill and his viewpoint and his presence. For if one is remembered by a friend, one is never truly gone, which is the most emotionally poignant he gets throughout the entire thing. Everything else is warriors, victory, this, that, the other thing. But that one is the entry that Eli stays on before being like, "Yo, Chiss Bros, what up?" So, I love. I'm a fan
amazing
of Eli.
ending. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Eli.
Eli was real cool, man. He grew on me. At first, I was just like, "Oh, this might be a random character that like ends up getting killed or something. It's maybe Thrawn's fault or something like that."
I thought once Thrawn got the use out of him that he wanted, he would be jettisoned like any other crew that he's worked with. But as we were getting into later chapters, and Eli was even presented with, does anybody else understand him like I do? Like, that's when it's like, no, they have a deeper connection. And I liked it. Let's hear from some of the folks.
Yay.
Alexis, what do you have?
Okay, I've got a few here. Jeff Wood says, do you think Thrawn knows Vader and is Anakin?
That I like how they left ambiguous.
Yeah. I like how they left it. I want to say I believe he knows. Mm-hmm. I want to say I believe he knows because he's just too smart. I think he knows. I think he let the Emperor's lie just go and without checking it. Because he was like, oh, Anakin fell or during the Clone Wars or whatever. And he was just like, he didn't even say anything. He was just like, okay.
The fact that he got the Death Star essentially confirmed. He was like, okay, all of the work that I've been doing to find this weapon and this battle station confirmed. Awesome. If I need to get more information, I have to play along. And so he's one. I feel like he's playing along, and he knows his like the fact that his vision is essentially infrared.
Yeah.
Working with a general in that in the capacity that he did Anakin, even though we only heard part of a story, that's somebody that you could probably recognize at least some of their key features or build or something, even though he's part robot. Who knows? But we both agree that we think that he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that as powerful as the Emperor is, he wasn't able to read Thrawn's true motives. Mm-hmm. That says something about Thrawn. Like, Thrawn is so boss, son.
He's the greatest military strategist in the Empire, in the galaxy, probably.
Yeah.
That we know of. And I mean...
Yeah. There may be another, but it's doubtful.
But
I
that's
mean, he
probably
had
why...
comparable with Night Swan, maybe.
That's the thing.
They had kind of like a tit for tat kind of thing.
Yeah. And with Night Swan, I'm sad that it ended the way that it did.
Yeah.
Because they came to such a good understanding in their scene.
Yeah.
That you sensed that there was a bigger plan, that Thrawn had a bigger plan for Night Swan in the future, and then for it to be a single line of, we have the body, it's confirmed that they're gone, and then that be the end of it, I think echoes how it may have seemed for Thrawn, is all of this buildup, all of this everything, but we have a body and they're dead. And how you had, like, he respected him as a foe so much.
Because the conversation that they had was very there was just like almost like a kinship that they had. Like, we have this level of respect. We've both been warriors. We're both, still fighting. And then to find out that they're kind of on the same side. Mm-hmm. And just the respect that he had to offer him the place with his people, that's a lot of trust that you're giving someone who you've been at odds with. But it harkens back to there are opponents and enemies.
Yeah.
Night Swan was an opponent,
was 100%,
but he was never an enemy.
No.
And I was like, man,
but then
this book is good.
And that also harkens back, or that harkens forward to Eli now filling that position.
Yeah.
And him considering Eli at least an equal to Night Swan, who was up to this point his greatest opponent in the military.
Yeah.
We got off of Anakin and Thrawn, but were there any other questions that we were waiting for?
Okay, so Lee Munger, I hope I said that correctly. Do you think we'll ever see Thrawn on the big screen? I doubt it, but it would still be cool. Your thoughts?
Last week we talked about the creator of Rogue One throwing around another idea. Now we don't know. We have one more season of Rebels.
Yeah,
Thrawn is in that season of Rebels. We don't know. He better not die. It would behoove them for him to not die.
Yeah. But where do we go with him if he doesn't die?
Arrest.
True.
If he
and then we could do the thing kind of like the Silence of the Lambs thing that we like talked about before. So you do that kind of thing. So yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And if there is a book to turn into a movie, so far they're all pretty dang good.
Yeah.
But Thrawn, you've got the kid audience now the newer audience that is familiar with him through watching him on Rebels. You have the adult audience that's familiar with him from the previous set of books and now this new book.
It's not super adult either.
No,
I mean, yeah, it's not super adult, so you could definitely get that done with PG-13. You know, there's a couple of people that get shot.
This can be the suspense movie that that Star Wars hasn't necessarily had. This could be the Inglourious Bastards, which is one of the most.
Okay.
I have not been more tense watching a movie than the theater scene at the end, where it's just like, everything is awful, because you think you know history, and then it does what it does, and you're like, weird. This is weird. But you never really get that. Oh, goodness. But yeah, I don't think it will be soon, but I'm pretty sure at some point.
Cool. So what else?
You thought so too?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I mean, it's
your favorite character. They just have to do it right, and it has to be the right people.
Yeah,
that's with any character.
I think Disney was on such a roll. I don't think they'd screw it up. Like the comics have been on point, the novels have been on point. You know, barring the one that I can't get through. But that everything has its audience. Yeah, everything has its audience, because I know people that love Aftermath. But you know, Dark Disciple, Tarkin, Thrawn, I enjoy all those. The movies have been sweet, so I'm pretty sure that they can knock it out of the park. You know, he's my favorite character, so. And this makes me, now knowing what we know with the conversation with Night Swan, I'm like,
and we could have something.
Agent. Snap.
Well, like Yamil Diaz in chat just said send him to wild space, which works, because like what do you do with a guy? The Emperor talks about, we thank you for your mapping out all of the hyperspace lanes and giving us maps of wild space. Still don't know where all of the chiss are, but you're smart like that. But I think if there was a portion where it was, you know what, in between 4, 5, and 6, where the Emperor is just kind of in 4, 5, and 6, where he's just kind of a presence, not necessarily physically there until 6. What is he doing? You know, what else is he? If there's a movie that's set within the original trilogy where it's Thrawn in wild space, and that's why he's not around, and then he comes back when the First Order's around, and is like, okay, hold on a minute. Like,
I would be down with that. I would definitely be down with that.
Not that freaked out, but
say if he comes back, because we don't know. I'm sure somebody's probably told us before how long Chiss live, but say if he comes back, like I don't know, episode 10, 11, something like that. It's like, whoa, what's going on? What happened to the Emperor? What is all this?
Did you what?
And now Sam.
What about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Yeah.
As far as I know, they live about 80 standard years.
Oh, okay, cool.
From what I just found. Sweet. Yeah, they were capable of living up to 80 years old, at which point the Chiss was considered venerable. Yeah. Children were ages 1 to 10, and they experienced a rapid adolescence from 11 to 12, and were considered full adults by 13, 14.
Oh,
wow.
What a terrifying world that would be to live in.
No thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, no thanks either.
No thanks.
What else do we have from the lovely folks in our live chat, which you can be a part of every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Popcorn Talk on YouTube.
Yes. Eric Bay and Anderson says, what would be Thrawn's demise? Who could beat / best him? Ooh, silence.
I know it's not really a who, it's more of a what.
Okay.
And we've kind of seen it. The incompetence of other people around him. Remember in the finale of Rebels, if they would have done what he said, everything would have been all good. Would have been fine. Wrap up the rebels, handcuffs, we're out of here. But no, the incompetence of other, or blind ambition of other like generals or whatever. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do because Thrawn doesn't know anything because he's just a stupid alien.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or, he's overhyped or whatever it is.
It would be an unfitting end, but that seems the most realistic.
Yeah.
Is other people just not knowing their role. But I also think just in general, the Force as an essence.
Oh, yeah.
Because similarly in the finale of Rebels, when the Bendu was just this unruly storm, he's like, what Jedi devilry is this?
Yeah.
Legitimately like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And it seems like he doesn't necessarily have a full understanding of the Force, and I don't know the Chiss relationship with the Force.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Which
imagine if he had the Force. That would not be fair.
Terrifying.
That would not be fair.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Nope. Honey Bunch is a nope.
But that's the thing is he is about knowledge and knowing, so it would be not necessarily ignorance, but the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
That would be his downfall. That's what I think.
All right. Do we have time for one more?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Yamil Diaz, again, I hope I said that correctly. Do you guys like the senators? They made me see why abolishing the Senate was good overall for the Empire.
That's hard because for
question.
Books on this that take place on the side of the Empire, you see a little bit more of the or just in general, you see a lot more of the bad side.
Yeah.
And the ignorance and the greedy and a whole bunch of people that don't deserve the position that they're in.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about the Leia novel, which I can't remember, Bloodline, we got a lot more of both sides of the Senate, but everybody having the right idea of the direction of the galaxy. So it's not. While I can understand your certain point of view, it's they even talk about it in the book about like, well, how far are you going to let tyranny go? You're fine with a tyrant?
Yeah, because I think the Senate's problem in the prequel era and even in the Empire, which has less sway or hold, I think it has to do with favors, money, and like kind of like cronyism, I guess you could say.
It's definitely cronyism.
Yeah, because
Pryce even mentions it in the book.
Well, oh yeah, you're right. She does mention it, and it's just if you could. And I mean, I guess there's no real way because, like they say, every government has corruption. Mm-hmm. But if you can kind of like try to curtail that mess by, maybe like an objective body always checking finances. That's all they do and stuff like that. And they're able to make arrests or whatever. But it's just a lot of corruption, man. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money. In the prequel era, it was the banking clan and all that money that was floating around for everybody. But
quote floating around
in
for
the
everybody.
Empire, it seems to be more of like status favors and stuff like that. It's like, oh well, if you do this for me, I'll make sure you get to a seat at the table at the party, and you can dine and wine with the best of them. That's the Empire douchey laugh.
That's an actual
for
quote
all of you guys.
That's an actual quote from the audiobook.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That was part of the
Right from
audiobook
the
that I did
audiobook,
listen
guys.
to.
That's
What's
right.
happening?
You can take that to the bank. Just don't take it to the banking clan because they're probably gonna mismanage that.
Investments are down. But yeah, while I can see that, I ultimately being able to have planets represented, if you had like multiple senates that, I mean, you can if you can communicate holographically, even in the Jedi Council, people that weren't there were still there Like, how can you not? He was like, well, I can't be in the Senate because I have to be back on the planet. Well, just hollow in.
Yeah, just hologram in.
That's
man.
easy.
Just Skype in that piece.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Skype on a galactic scale.
Yeah.
The connection speeds must
Skype,
be terrible.
Skype Plus. Microsoft going to send me a check. I know you're working on it right now.
Money. Anyway, had to do it once. But so before we go, thank you everybody who asked questions. If you are watching this after the fact, not live, make sure to leave some questions down below or tweet us at Jedi Alliance Pod. But before we go, except for Alexis, because we're going to talk about final thoughts.
Yes.
So Alexis, what do you think of our review? Review or review?
Oh, what? It was amazing. saying.
Thank you. All right. So,
No, like I think that you guys
good
were
choice.
able to, no, but I feel like you guys did enough for it. Even though yes, it was spoilery, I can still look forward to reading the book because there's probably finer details that I can read into later. So it wasn't enough for it to be like, I don't need to read this book anymore kind of feeling. Like I'm still like excited to read it. It actually made me want to read it more.
well, don't you worry, because you've got somebody with the hardcover book and the audiobook. If you want to borrow it,
Yay!
just let us know.
I'm just gonna wait though.
No, yeah, definitely wait. Definitely wait. So I absolutely love this book. I'm gonna give you the final word because your Thrawn's your favorite character. But as somebody who wasn't as familiar with Thrawn, only hearing the legends, I liked the style of this book. I like how Zahn gave us the insight into Thrawn's brain that we didn't necessarily start to pick up the small idiosyncrasies until Eli started to, and it was nice to feel like you belonged in that story. It was also nice to hear about Lothal and
Yeah.
Essentially this was it doesn't entirely set up their roles in Rebels, but they give a nice couple of nods every now and again.
Yeah.
But I would 100% recommend this. If you're a slow reader, it'll probably take you a couple days. If you're a fast reader, it'll probably take you a day. But it was hard to put this down unless I like really had to do stuff. So I highly recommend picking it up. Michael, tell us your final thoughts on Timothy Zahn's Thrawn.
Timothy Zahn is the man. He wrote Thrawn. He knows Thrawn, and he gives us a window into not only his mind but his motivations, and that's what's really cool. You get to see how the Empire works, how the Empire sees other worlds that aren't human worlds, and you get to see how Thrawn sees combat and how it's not an emotional thing for him. And I think that's something that's very cool, very Art of War like. And on the other side, you get to see why Lothal is a thing, and you get to see
Why Lothal is important to the Empire.
You get to see why that, because of course something is getting built.
Yeah.
And we have to find out why. And you get to see Pryce turn, which I think is a great character arc, even though it's like dag, but it's a great character arc, man. Pryce is I love to hate Pryce. So yeah.
Definitely the hate part. Love to hate her.
So this book is definitely worth checking out. I love the audiobook because Thrawn's voice, he does, what is it, Mark? I can't remember.
Mark Thompson?
Mark Thompson does an amazing Thrawn, and he does a good
really
Emperor too.
Oh, does he? I didn't
does
get
a
that
real
part.
good Emperor.
I'll have to listen back through.
So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Still.
Okay. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure to check it out. Go to your local bookstore or your iTunes or wherever audiobooks, audible.com. They're not a sponsor, but we want them to be. And I had such a good time reading this book. We're next week is Mother's Day for us here in America. Shout out to our European fans and other country fans, not just Europe, but everywhere else in the world. So we're gonna have ourselves a little bit of fun. We're gonna be talking about motherhood in the Star Wars universe, and with that, we need an expert. Now, we're not too big-headed that we call ourselves experts, but there is a 100% no face from Alexis. Y'all good. So we've enlisted the help of a very good friend of the show and former host, Joseph Scrimshaw, who's going to be returning to Jedi Alliance next week to talk to us about motherhood in the Star Wars universe, being a mother himself. So it's
Mama Bird.
Mama Bird Scrimshaw. So super excited to have Joseph back in studio. If you have any questions for him or any thoughts about motherhood in the Star Wars universe, leave those comments down below. But until next week, Alexis, where can the folks find you?
Hey y'all, you guys can find me all over the interwebs at atorres890. Don't forget to check out all the shows that are going to be happening. Again, I know that there's a lot of shows that I'm doing right now, so definitely keep in touch with my Twitter to find out what I'm doing. If you are going to tune in later on tonight, literally in 30 minutes, I will be doing the Bob's Burger After Show, so join us.
Michael Young.
Well, you can find me online at Oneyungsta, which is ONEYOUNGSTA.
Hey.
And on Thursdays, you can check me out holding down that blind spot. There's only 2 episodes left. It's going to be a ton of fun. You can also check out NerdSoul on Black Hollywood Live. NERDSOUL, one word. And a big, wonderful shout out to Susan Jones hollering at us on Facebook. It's wonderful to have you as part of the crew.
That's right. We do Fans of the Week. We shout them out. So make sure you follow us on all of our social medias, which is, we're on Facebook at Jedi Alliance, Twitter at Jedi Alliance Pod, Instagram at Jedi Alliance Pod, and we post as often as we can because we are all very wonderful people with a lot of busyness. Cheers. And you can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. I also host another show on the Popcorn Talk Network called Video Game Movie Anatomy. Tomorrow we're doing Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Please join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, a whole bunch of stuff on AfterBuzz TV, our sister network. But until next time, thank you so much for joining us because many Zonthans died to bring us this novel. Let me do it. Many Zonthans died to bring us this novelization.
Oh.
They didn't though.
Oh.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.